Good evening, everyone. Welcome to In Touch, a masterclass on food products powered by Brain Wonders. This fourth edition of Masterclass series will take you on a short journey of introducing you to 30 innovative food products selected from across India. In this masterclass, innovative products, informative content, and progressive ideas are being shared with you. We remain hopeful that this and forthcoming sessions will inspire you to take your school community to a new direction of development. My name is Namrata and I will be your moderator for today. I represent India's largest counseling organization, Brain Wonders. With 108 global centers, Brain Wonders has been revolutionizing the face of academic guidance, career development, and personal growth via its US patented DMIT and online psychometric tests. Founded by Mr. Manish Naidu, over the past decade, Brain Wonders has been nationally awarded on 7 different platforms, including recognition for being the most trusted and digitally innovative career counseling company. Excellence and passion is what Brain Wonders strives for, and with that, let's begin today's session. Before I welcome today's speaker, I request all our audience to immerse themselves in the session and hold their questions, which will be addressed right after the session. I present to you now with immense pleasure today's speaker, Mr. Manish Naidu, who is the CEO and founder of Brain Wonders. I now hand over to the counseling psychologist and content designer of Brain Wonders, Ms. Shaman Deshmukh, to begin the much-awaited session. And the topic for today's session is genetic intelligence, the future of education.
Thank you, Namrata ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to speak about a very essential topic. It's a very important topic, that is genetic intelligence, and what it is, its significance, and why psychologists around the world today are trying to emphasize on it and trying to encourage students to sort of take it up and understand the importance of genetic intelligence. More importantly, how genetic intelligence can be an excellent tool or an excellent way of empowering students is what I'm going to focus on today. Uh, Before I begin with that, I would like to introduce to you all about Brain Wonders. Next. Okay. So Brain Wonders basically started in 2011, where our CEO, Mr. Manish Naidu, brought DMIT to India. And we sort of started with just 10 to 11 centers in 2013. But today, right now, we are more than 108 centers. We have sort of touched more than 3 lakh student lives, where we have inspired them to take up their strengths and to understand their innate potentials. We have spoken to more than and trained more than 3.5 thousand teachers and have connected with 320 schools. We have been here with the vision of sort of making people understand the importance of innate potential and understanding their basic characteristics and valuing individuality for personal growth and for career growth. Next. Before I begin with an introduction about genetic intelligence or genetic testing as a whole, I would like to talk about assessments that are there. Traditional assessment, psychometric assessment, psychological assessment that we talk about, and how these assessments play a role in understanding a person's inborn potential. Next. When I speak about a student, all right, and if a student comes to me and wants to know which career or which profession would be ideal for him or her, the traditional methods that are used, all right, are basically trial and error, where we speak and understand the client, and we try to understand what they want and what their interests lie. The problem that arises with conversation, with observation, with interviewing, with psychometric testing is that these tests, of course, as useful as they can be and as informative and as useful they are, the problem that arises is that they have their cons. For example, when we speak about observation as a form of assessment, as a form of understanding and measuring someone's personality, someone's basic characteristic, it is limited to the person's vision and their subjective thought process. With respect to psychometric testing, for example, if I am answering a personality test and I've just entered the cubicle, the counseling center after having a fight with my mother or after having a breakup, it would impact the way I am answering the personality test and would sort of falter the way I have answered as opposed to if I was happy or if I was in a different situation altogether. So environmental factors have an impact on psychometric testing. There's another factor that affects psychometric testing is that we tend to have performance anxiety. Even in interviews, when there's an HR person sitting in front of you, as good as you could be, there's a tendency that you have performance anxiety and you tend to underperform or not put your best foot forward. Uh, there's another factor that arises when you are taking an interview or taking a test or taking a personality test for that matter, is that you tend to put an ideal self and not your real self. There's a difference between an ideal self, that is something that people would like, that society would like, and then there is your real self. So these tests, as good as they could be, as good measurement they could be, they do not provide us the complete scenario of a person, and most of the time could be faltered or could be altogether manipulated. Next. So, like I said, it is easy to manipulate. Long-term charting is not possible. There could be times where the assessor or the opposite person could be biased towards you, might have a prejudice towards you, and may not give a best judgment about you, and might not come up with the best counseling for you. Next, that is why we as psychologists rely more on genetic intelligence. That is your inborn potential. Now, when I talk about genetic intelligence, I mean your heredity or what you've received through your parents, or your inborn potential that is in you, your strengths, your personality, that could be your multiple intelligence, that could be your abilities, your weaknesses, everything that you've received through your genes is what we talk about genetic intelligence. Next, time immemorial in history, we've seen this war against nature and nurture, where psychologists, thinkers, philosophers have fought over the concept of whether nature or nurture, what is better. What influences a person more? Is it the inborn characteristics that the child is born with, or is it uh, the nature that influences, the nurture that influences, the environment that influences the child? For us, as torchbearers of genetic intelligence tests, we say that it is nature that comes first. It is nature that holds priority, and that has to be focused on to understand a person. And we have to, so that is a baseline that we have to take things forward from. Next. To explain genetic intelligence and the importance of genetic intelligence and how it is necessary for us to understand our innate potentials, otherwise things can go haywire, is this classic PPT, is this slide where I will be showing you all different scenarios, will be giving you all different incidents that you all could relate to, sort of as adults we must have been through throughout these parameters. Now, as a child, all right, let's take innate potential, interest, exposure as three parameters to understand whether we help a child in development or no. So take yourselves as parents, as teachers, or as educationists. A child comes to you. He has an innate potential, for example, to be an entrepreneur. All right, and he has the interest. So he has the innate potential, yes. He has the interest, yes. But we as adults, or we as parents, or the environment has failed to give him that exposure to become an entrepreneur. We have not given him that environment that could train him to become an entrepreneur. And that, for that child, unfortunately remains as a hidden potential, that he could be a leader, that he had the personality, he had the skill of being a leader, he had the ability to have a wider vision. So because of lack of exposure, it resulted into a hidden talent. The second scenario would be where there is a child who doesn't have an inborn potential to become an engineer, but holds an interest to become an engineer, and he is not given the opportunity to expose. So there will be different children having different scenarios. Until and unless we do not, the bottom line here is that we need to understand an inborn potential of a person uh, to holistically not just make him happy in his career, but throughout life. So somebody who wants to become an engineer but doesn't has the interest but doesn't have the ability and is not exposed will always feel unsatisfied and unfulfilled in life. So giving that person a closure is important. All right. The third scenario would be somebody who is really good at writing and has the potential to express, has the potential to put down flawlessly and catch the attention of the audience, but uh, has a little bit of interest in it, has the potential but doesn't have much interest, has a little bit here and there, but is not given the exposure. That trait or that characteristics will sort of be okay. We know, knowing the fact that that person could have been excelling in that aspect, has sort of just partially grown in that area. The second last example would be the person doesn't have the innate potential, the person doesn't have the interest, but the child is forced and exposed to do a certain things. A classic example here would be us forcing our children to get into an MBBS degree, to become a doctor. So it's like we are asking a fish to climb a tree when it can do best at swimming. So here the child is being feeling forced because his innate potential is somewhere else. He doesn't have the interest in becoming a doctor, but we have been sort of coaxing him or her to become a doctor. The last example, which is the ideal situation uh, that we are trying to achieve, that we at Brain Wonders are trying to tell parents and teachers, is that uh, first is to identify a child's genetic intelligence, align it with the person's interest, expose the child to that environment, to that activity, so that we come up with a prodigy. We come up with an army of children who are equipped, who are using their strengths, who are satisfied with who they are, and are in harmony with what they were created for, or the strengths they had. So that is the ideal way of looking at development. Next. So that is why it is said that genetic testing, that is DMIT, uh, that some that is something that came around the 18th century, where a lot of scientists realized that the brain was developing along with the fingerprints, and that the brain had something to do with who we were and our innate potential. So uh, it was around the 18th and the 19th century where DMIT or dermatoglyphics came into picture. And it is a way through which, that is through our fingers, that is through our skins, through our lines and ridges, we map our brain, uh, uh, we map our personality, we map and understand a person's potential. Next. Yeah, could you please? All right. So when we talk about DMIT, when we talk about dermatoglyphics, a multiple intelligence test, where we take fingerprints and try to map the person's brain, what are the factors that we understand? What are the things that we identify? First of all, we identify the person's personality. We identify the person's basic characteristics, who he is, his that so in across our entire childhood and adulthood, we have never come across something like this. We have never come across something like genetic testing. So we were sort of trained to melt into somebody else's personalities. We were given examples of people, and we sort of had this habit of masking ourselves into them or imitating their behavior. But through genetic testing, we understand our unique personality, our unique style who who we are. All right, we understand our learning pattern as well. Each of us have a dominant learning pattern. Some of us are motive based learners, some of us are concept based learners, some of us in a secondary learning pattern are good visual learners, some of us are really good auditory learners, and some of us are kinesthetic learners where we want to do things and understand. So understanding the dominant learning pattern of a child sort of unlocks his potential to his learning, his grasping power. And that is what we do through the MIT. The other thing that we do is we identify a person's brain dominance. That is his left brain and the right brain. The right brain majorly dealing with the creative aspect, and the left brain majorly dealing with the logical aspect. We understand that, and we understand the person's strengths, his areas of improvement, and so the basic thought process here is, when we are going for a counseling session, we sort of try to align three things, and that is the fundamental. First is that we try to understand the person's personality, then we try to understand the person's interest, and then we try to understand the person's ability. Personality, interest, and ability is what we try to align, we try to bring in harmony, so that we can put the best solution forward, the best career forward, or the ideal situation or the lifestyle forward for the child. Next. Yeah. So when I talk about personality, this is, of course, I can't deep dwell into it right now. I have a time constraint. So if we talk about personality in DMIT, there are four major personality types that we come across. All right. And just to give you all an example, I've put it on the PPT. Here are four major fingerprints that talk about four different personalities. Now, why is it that we need to know about our personalities? Each personality has a dominant characteristics. For example, there's these four fingerprints that I talk about. There's vole, there's ulnar, there's radial, and there's arc. They are all different types. They represent different characteristics altogether. For example, a vole personality is that of a leader, somebody who has a logical mind, somebody who would always question, somebody who is sometimes a vole is a born entrepreneur. So that's a strong fingerprint. And ulnar on the other side is somebody who's more like a follower, somebody uh, who values interpersonal relationship. When I speak about an arc, I think of a sponge, because their learning capacity, they are able to the ability to imitate and sort of take things from the environment is pretty strong. So each fingerprint represents a personality type. And when we discover that, and when we discover a person's personality, we are able to help them align it with their ability. When personality and ability align together, uh, help an individual choose a better career, choose a better option, which I will be talking about later. Next. So I spoke about personality. Then we also deep dwell into, like I said, about the person's brain dominance, left brain dealing with logic and the right brain dealing with creativity. So the brain dominance is also focused upon. Then we talk about multiple intelligence. That's a theory by a psychologist called Howard Gardner. So we sort of align the abilities, and we talk about these 16 multiple intelligences, that those are visual, auditory, and the five basic, the five major lobes or the five functions that are there is what we focus on. That is the auditory ability, the visual function, the thought function, the mental function, and the kinesthetic function is what we discuss in the report. Next. Now, here's a basic sample of our report. Here, here we have spoken about those five abilities, the five lobes or the five areas that we focus on. And this is just the first page. It's a comprehensive report. The first page is usually where used by the counselor to explain the person's potentials, his personality, his learning style, his brain dominance, and everything of that sort. Next. Now, a very important question here is, do we at Brain Wonders just stop after the assessment? Do we just stick to the report where we've just told the individual, like, this is, see, bacha, this is your personality, this is your ability, these are your strengths, so you're a good visual learner. You have high logical ability, so you will do good in areas of economics, maths, and science. Is it just that? No. What we do here is that right after the assessment, we sit with the child and we try to understand his interest. Once he has told us, for example, can you take on to the next slide, please? Yeah. So once he has told us his career choices or his thought process about what he aspires to become, we put forward a career recommendation that we have carefully mapped with his strengths. So once we identify his strengths, we get a career recommendation right at the right in the report itself, where a pool of careers that the child could really do well in are suggested. After the suggestions are made, we have a discussion with the child, and we sort of talk to the child and ask the child of what he thinks or she thinks would be the would interest him, and we come to a middle solution of choosing the ideal career. Now, is that it? Do we just tell the child ki, acha, you can become a great clinical psychologist and that's about it? No, we go deep dwell into counseling, and we explain the child about the career itself. Next. So, for example, if I've given the child a career recommendation and the child has agreed to sort of, has made the decision of becoming a clinical psychologist, I will put forth four different pathways or five different pathways of how he or she could become a clinical psychologist. So it's not like I'm spoon feeding, but I'm sort of practically putting forward what the child could go through and what he could plan. So sort of putting a 5-year planner or a 6-year planner or however long it takes for her or him to achieve that particular career or to get where he wants to. So if so taking the child's financial state into concern, we also go ahead and tell them about the different expenses that they will have to face. So the salary also and the expenses also of how a particular career would do well or no for them. Next. Once we've spoken about the career, we've given them a picture about how the career is, the career outlook, the salary they could get, of course, right at the beginning of the career and at the end. So we give them a complete picture of how they would do throughout the career. After that, we go ahead and give them a list of top colleges and top courses that are ranked, that are NIRF ranked, that are ranked by different agencies, and which are really doing well, so that they choose and they get what is best for them. Next. So that being said about how we counsel students, that we don't just do an assessment and leave it there. We sort of understand the child's interest, what he wants to do, understand his financial state, understand his goals, understand how much time he has. So if he has a goal of studying for 6 years, how can we make him a clinical psychologist? How can we help him become a clinical psychologist in that span of 6 years, is what we as counselors sort of plan and execute, help execute to the student. With respect to Brain Wonders, not just that, not just are we helping people who are coming to us as students, as clients, we have been in the process right now in launching our own career portal, where we have information, comprehensive information, right from A to Z, about 723 highly paid careers, of how they could get into that career, why they should get into that career, or how that career is doing good or not doing good right now in India, and how much they could fetch from that career, uh, is how much of education is required for that career. So we've sort of comprehensively put all the data right uh, right out there for the students. We have also sort of collected data of 193 industries that they could get into after choosing that career, and we have 11,000 plus professional courses and 11,000 plus recognized colleges that are doing really well, that are having star courses, where our students could really do well. The whole purpose here uh, at Brain Wonders is that we put across the best for students. We want a holistic approach, that people understand the importance of genetic intelligence. People understand how crucial it is for us to identify ourselves, because with career, with life decisions, with choosing your profession, it cannot be a trial and error method, because it's not just about your 9 to 5 job. It's about working for doing the same thing for 50 years. So why not do what you are good at? Why not identify right at the beginning? And it's not just your career, but it's about your academics as well, the way you study, with subjects you can really be good at. So is what we are focusing at. Next. So of course, we are trying to achieve a world ready, happy student, and we are slowly and gradually getting there, I feel. I will not stretch any further and invite our CEO, Mr. Manish Naidu, to speak further, because he has a greater vision, he has a bigger vision, and I would uh, now give him the uh, session.
Good evening, educators. Good evening, the Fearless Educators Summit. And thanks, Charmaine, for giving such a wonderful presentation, and Namrata to have uh, held on to the fort for so long as you generally do. Thanks once again. My name is Manish, and I'm sorry to have been indisposed in my previous half an hour, but I did see that Charmaine has given you a wonderful perspective about how uh, DMIT is going to change the way the whole perspective looks like. Like I remember in 2011 when I had started this for my kid, there was a huge impetus about identifying the innate potential of the child. There was a huge impetus about knowing what to do in life. There was a huge impetus about people not knowing what to do, and that's what made us move in this way where we are. Can you just yeah, remove the thing? Okay. Now, we are open to any line of questioning, but before that, I'll just have to let you know that we in Brain Wonders are a huge dedicated team of 23 psychologists, clinical and career, and we have done more than 23 lakh assessments, which includes IQ, psychometric, which we have obviously said that DMIT is the mother of all tests, and we say that how brilliant those tests are. But we, having said that, we have also acceded to the clause of what the parents and the teachers and the educators need. there are a lot of school awards and there are a lot of education awards, which is a testimony to the fact that we have grown up with time and there's a lot of aspects in the growth chart. So anything which has got to do with counseling, right from a 3-year-old child, identifying the potential of that particular child as to which school, which playgroup, which institution should she go to the board selection, to identifying the intelligence of the child. So genetic intelligence has really played a very crucial part, not only for the kids, not only for the teachers, not only for the educators, but also corporates, where we have introduced this concept very strongly in the HR perspective. So I think the rest of the sessions which you will keep seeing, which has a lot of edutech companies which are trying to tell you the latest innovations in the market, almost 60 to 80% of them have been using our test in one way or the other, either to identify the potential or to multiply the skill set of the employee or of the child who is currently in it. Armed with that, we have 628 careers mapped to close to 11,000 colleges and 13,000 courses. So once the child's career counseling is being done, we don't just leave the client there. We try to tell him almost everything about what the child does, everything about the careers, everything about the perspective of how he could reach in. So almost we cover the whole 360 degrees angle of the child once he joins in. So corporate to cradle to corporate approach is what we would ensure we would give moving ahead. So we are open to any line of questioning which with regards to DMIT analysis, psychometric test, and anything which you have to say. And Namrata, is there anything else which you would want us to cover, which are you, if you feel that I should be taking in? Okay. And Namrata has been prompting us to let me know about the various awards which we have been bestowed with. It's all started with 2012, where we got the Best Student Counseling Award in Indian National Awards, which was held in Delhi. Afterwards, ECA, which is our, the largest conglomerate of educational institutes, the preschools and the nurseries. We have been in a position to give the award, being given the product training certificate for that. And armed with that, we have so many awards in terms of accreditation. Once again, I think there is a disturbance. Okay, sorry. And MISA, NISA, ECA, all the school associations have been in sync with us in identifying what to do next. So I think along with the fact that genetic counseling with related to manpower, related to HR, even related to what you could do with your spouse. I mean, we cover almost everything. There has been cases where a lot of management has utilized this particular test to identify the next leader, the principal, the leader, or the senior person behind who should be running it with all the leadership qualities. Is it automatically instilled into it? So there are a lot of aspects I would recommend and strongly send across. Obviously, I will be sending you across a link, but I would strongly recommend all of you to send that. Thanks, Namrata. Yes, NCDA. Yes, so NCDA is an American, is the largest career counseling organization in the world, and same goes with IIC, which is US-based accreditation. We are Namrata and the rest are already also a major part of APA, which is the American Psychological Association. So I think once you have yourself, your kids, and your institutions done the counseling through us, you'll be in very safe hands. You will be in a safe hand with regards to anything which has got to do with counseling. So yeah, I think that's good enough. I'm open to the questions as usual. And Namrata, if there's anything, any point which I might have missed out.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, there's something that I would like to add because today I've finally gotten the privilege to actually talk about my organization, where I've been a part of an excellent counseling team. So at Brain Wonders, we definitely focus a lot on human development. That is our locus. That is where we align ourselves. And for the same, we have actually got a lot of recognition also. And we are very grateful for all the medias and the highlights that we have received so far. More than that, I think what I pride myself and our organization is on the fact that we have a lot of working professionals, a lot of students, and a lot of parents who are satisfied by our services. The whole concept, like how Shamin presented, is that everything is something that you may be born with, but the fact that if you're never given the exposure or the platform to exercise the same, it is sort of an injustice that you're doing to yourself, or let's say to the future generation. We are very confident that the generation that is upcoming and the existing people as well have a lot to offer, and we are actually on a mission to put a spotlight on the Indian talents, because we know that as Indians, we have the capacity, we have the competence to stand shoulder to shoulder and probably even reign on a global platform. And that is something that we are wholeheartedly align ourselves with. We know that India has a huge population, and what we see actually is that each person or each child, whether it's a child who has not been able to walk yet, to let's say somebody who is thinking of retiring very soon, each one of them has something unique to offer, whether it's on the basis of their personality traits, or whether it's on the basis of their strengths, or whether it's on the basis of their skill sets. Everybody experiences things differently, and that is exactly where Brain Wonders comes in. So thank you for being a part of today's session, and I think now we are open to questions, sir. If we, our audience, I request you to post forward your questions. As always, you are aware that this can be done in any of the three formats. You can either raise your hand, or you can post your questions in the chat box, or you can use the activities button as well.
Also, if there are educators and principals and directors in this particular presentation, in this meeting, there are three major award shows which we are sponsoring, which is the National Education Awards held in Delhi, Bangalore, and Goa. So anybody who wants to participate, and if there are educators who have really done a lot of work, obviously all of you do it, and anybody who would want to have their names mentioned across, kindly feel free to text your name and details to Ms. Namrata, and we would be more than happy and glad to accommodate you for the awards, which is going to be one of the largest awards of the year. So it's happening in the month of Jan in Delhi and Bangalore, and in the month of February in Goa and Bombay. So I thought if there are any educators, principals, directors, trustees, I would be more than happy to accommodate you. Thanks.
All right. So we have the platform open for questions now. Meanwhile, so while we await some questions, there's something that I think, because I have been working with this audience for quite some time now. So it would be great if you could just spare some time and help us, like the educators here, understand the principles and the directors program that we have.
Okay, I did miss that. Thanks for reminding me. So we have a principals and educators program where we give the school a certification of multiple intelligence, where we give some 200 odd psychometric tests at a very reasonable cost. There is one national and one international event which we sponsor, all paid up from our side. And there is a teachers training workshop, and there is a MI workshop for all the teachers for at least 4 times in a year. And the principal and the educator both are being felicitated with an award at both the places. So these are the few highlights of the Principal Leadership Connect program which we are doing in. So yeah, thanks for reminding me, Namrata.
Thank you, sir. All right. So if there's anybody who would like to ask any question, we have some time. So Dr. Yogita Sarwal is asking, is there any age bar for the counseling or the test?
So that's a very brilliant question. So the beauty about the whole genetic test is right from the age group of say 1 or 2, where the child just moves on and he or she would never be in a position to say that this is what we like. So right from a 3-year-old child, to understand the preschool, to right from adolescent stage to a career selection stage to a marital stage to the stage where you would like to decide at the age of 40, 45, 50 as to what to do. Introspecting the life and also identifying whether there is so much of movement ahead. Like for example, the McDonald's was further ahead, not by the McDonald's brothers, but by the Ray Kroc at the age of 65. So there is no age limit to identify your own potential and moving ahead. So unlike any other psychometric or IQ test, there is no age limit. You can administer it non-evasive test right from the age group of 1, 2 to the age group of 50 or 60. And at various points, the questions would be posed differently, but the answers would be amazingly different, unique, depending on the questions being posed. So no age group, that is what makes the genetic test so very enthralling.
Thank you, sir. We have another question coming in from Dr. Yogita Sarwal, who is asking, are all the tests paper and pencil tests?
So DMIT is obviously a genetic test. The rest of the test or paper pen test, but during COVID times, online is something which we have always been ready for. But we can always do a paper pen test if needed at remote locations, and then we would send up a digital report. So it's all paper pen test. Obviously, it's all an MCQ based test. But if you want a physical paper and pen, it could always be needed. But DMIT, which is a genetic engineering test, that is based on only fingerprints. Well, not even your physical need is required. We have an app, you download it, you take the fingerprints, you send it across, the scan goes to Malaysia, comes back, and then we counsel you. That's how it is.
Thank you, sir. I think it is what we have realized over the past few years is that being digitally innovative is something that we 100% believe in, because our mission is to provide our services to each and every person of this country and of course the world itself. Because of which all our tests are available in an offline format and in an online format as well. Anybody at any point of time can just open up their phone or their laptop and take any test, get themselves assessed, and of course then we are happy to connect with them for further counseling. So we have, so Ms. Digavali Nageshwara Rao has said that I have been working in Hyderabad for the last 29 years, and then they have been provided their contact details and the head of the institution. Okay, so as a school, they would be interested to enroll, sir.
Wonderful, so, wonderful. I think as schools, you should be just send us your text, and we'll be more than happy to introduce the program and also be part of the award ceremony across the country and the globe.
So we'll take one last question if anybody has it.
I think the takeaway from this particular session, where we have spent almost 45 minutes with us, is that the test is close to my heart because I did it for myself when professor wanted to understand and see whether I'm the right fitment guy to take this in India. And probably my elongated role, apart from the fact that the prefrontals and postfrontal were strong, he found me the right person. And I think 10 years and 108 centers later, it's proving to be right. But what I did is I went back and I did for my child. So when she was 2, at the age of 2010, that is when I realized that engineering skills is something which I obviously loved it. The fact that I wanted to be a maths and engineering, and my wife being a teacher, she wanted to be in the education spectrum. But one thing which we both found common was we both loved linguistic skills. And my daughter turned out to be the same. She loves to write poems. She has presented a lot of prose, poems, and also participated in a lot of activities which relates to English literature, and she reads tons of books. So what I'm trying to tell you out here is that the happy child concept. So if I wouldn't have had this genetic intelligence test, it would have been so very difficult for me to identify my child and the others. So I think when the children can't speak and when you want to experiment a lot, that is when you should go ahead with this test, because it gives you a lot of credential, it gives you a lot of backing, and it proves to you that what you have been otherwise checking the child is actually right. So I think you should try it out for your kids. You should try it out for yourself. The proof of the pudding is to eat it. Do this genetic test. Allow us to be a part of your lives by letting you know your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own characteristics, your own way forward. And then I would be so sure that you could make a difference to others' lives as we have done we have done for others and for you as well. I think that is a note which I would like to part with. And as the fearless educator state that we are, thank you. I hope that we did justice to 50 collective hours being spent with us. And Namrata, as usual, would and Dipankar, you have been brilliant in terms of being a part of getting all the school leaders at one go. And I'm sure that in the future you will also be doing a live expo and show so that we can take it ahead in that particular way. So thanks a lot. Also, over to you, Namrata.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for being available for today's session. I think it was great for everybody to realize the work that Brain Wonders has been doing. And thanks for taking the time out today and connecting with our beautiful audience. Because I have been going and telling sir every day, for the past few sessions that, sir, we have so many people coming in, we have such an interactive crowd, we have so many educators lined up. And I think it was definitely an overwhelming session for me to have my own organization be presenting to all of you today. So thank you, our lovely participants. Thanks to our lovely audience for being such an interactive and energetic crowd today. It was definitely an honor on our part to present to you, and I look forward to connecting to each and every one of you very, very soon. Thank you, and have a great evening ahead.
Thank you.